happens when powerless kids grow up. My parents threw me out when I was 17 because I wouldn't give them my McDonald's paychecks anymore. I remember my mom screaming from the front door while my dad stuffed my clothes into trash bags. "Worthless kids like you end up dead in the streets," she yelled while the neighbors pretended not to watch. I slept in the back of the restaurant that night because my manager knew what happened and left the back door unlocked for me. That was 11 years ago, and I never talked to them again until last Wednesday, when their new adoption application landed on my desk. They wanted to foster 3 kids whose parents just died. The application said they were amazing parents, which made me laugh because they neglected me for my entire life. I sat in my car outside their house for 5 minutes that afternoon trying to stop my hands from shaking. My mom answered the door with this big fake smile that she always used for church people, but it dropped the second she saw my face. "Hi, I'm here because you are due for a new foster home inspection," I said, holding up my state ID badge. She actually stumbled backward into my dad, who took one look at me and turned red. "What the hell are you doing here?" he shouted, spit flying from his mouth. "Get off our property right now or I'm calling the cops." I walked right past them into the living room, pulling out my clipboard. "As I said, this is an official state inspection. If I am unable to complete my inspection, you will no longer be able to foster children," I said, while they followed me around screaming about harassment and lawsuits. The kitchen still had the same yellow wallpaper, but now there were child locks on every cabinet. "You can't just barge in here pretending to be someone important," my mom yelled, her voice getting that high pitch it used to get right before she'd grab the bat. I just kept taking pictures of everything, especially of the locks on the outside of bedroom doors. The basement door had a huge padlock on it, which was definitely new. "That's just to keep the kids away from dangerous stuff," he said, but his eye was twitching the way it used to when he lied to the cops after the neighbors called CPS. "I need to inspect every room or you'll fail automatically," I said, keeping my voice steady even though my stomach was doing flips. He unlocked the basement door and I went down first, using my phone flashlight because they hadn't turned on the lights. There was a wooden beam with ropes hanging from it, but that wasn't what made me freeze at the bottom of the stairs. There was a mattress on the floor with a chain attached to the wall, and in the corner I could see someone small curled up under a blanket. "Who is that?" I said, my voice barely working. "Just our current placement. She's in timeout," my mom said from behind me like this was completely normal. I ran over and pulled back the blanket to find a girl, maybe 6 years old, with duct tape over her mouth and her ankle chained to the wall. "Get away from her!" my dad yelled, grabbing my arm and yanking me backwards so hard I fell. "She's a runner. She needs to learn boundaries." I scrambled for my phone while my mom tried to explain that the girl had been difficult and violent, so they had to protect themselves. The girl's eyes were huge and terrified, and I could see bruises shaped like finger marks all over her arms. I called 911, screaming out the address while my dad tried to rip the phone from my hands. "There's a child chained in the basement. Send the police now." I kept yelling even when my mom slapped me across the face. "You don't understand what we deal with," she screamed. "These kids are damaged. They need extreme measures or they'll never learn." The cops broke down the door 8 minutes later and found me on the floor with a bloody nose, my parents trying to unchain the girl to hide the evidence, and the girl so traumatized she couldn't even speak. They arrested both my parents right there in the basement. They both got 15 years in prison, and those 3 siblings went to live with a real family who actually wanted them.